Hi, and welcome to the Past Lives Podcast YouTube channel. Today I'm going to talk about the Pamela Reynolds near-death experience. During her experience, she went into a space of light in the afterlife, and I'll tell you who she met and how she came back. When Pamela Reynolds was 35, she started feeling ill. She had dizziness, loss of speech, and difficulty moving her body. She said, "I was in Virginia Beach with my husband and inexplicably forgot how to talk. And I've got a big mouth, I never forget how to talk." A CT scan revealed a giant aneurysm at the base of her brain. The neurologist that she was referred to said that there was little or no chance of survival due to its size and location. She then found out about Dr. Spetzler, who had pioneered a new surgical process called DHCA. DHCA stands for Deep Hypothermic Circulatory Arrest. This process is described as a carefully managed clinical death, in which heartbeat and all brain activity cease. Her eyes were taped shut, and small moulded earpieces with speakers were placed in her ears. These speakers emitted rapid audible clicks, which were used to check that her brain was not responding and that she had a flat EEG. These loud audible clicks were at 116 decibels, and 116 decibels is the kind of loudness that you'd experience at a rock concert. Pamela Reynolds was awake when she was brought into the operating theatre at 7:15 a.m. She then says she felt a weird loss of time as the general anaesthetic took effect. She then heard a continuous musical tone that seemed to pull her out of the top of her head. She said, "There was a sensation like being pulled, but not against your will. I was going on my own accord because I wanted to go." I have different metaphors to try to explain this. It was like the Wizard of Oz, being taken up in a tornado vortex, only you're not spinning around like you've got vertigo. It was like a tunnel, but it wasn't a tunnel. As her consciousness came out of her body, she was able to look around the operating theatre. She said there was about 20 surgeons, and she was able to see and describe the bone saw that they were going to use. It was an odd-looking thing, she said. It looked like the handle of my electric toothbrush. I heard a female voice say, "Her arteries are too small," and Dr. Spetzler, I think it was him, said, "Use the other side." She continued to describe her near-death experience. "At some point very early in the tunnel vortex, I became aware of my grandmother calling me. The feeling was that she wanted me to come to her. It's a dark shaft that I went through, and at the very end there was this very tiny pinpoint of light that kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. She said the light was incredibly bright, like sitting in the middle of a light bulb, and then she raised her hands to kind of try to shield her eyes, but her hands didn't seem to be there. She said she felt them, but she could see right through them. I noticed that I began to discern different figures in the light, and they were all covered with light. They were light, and had light permeating all around them. They began to form shapes I could recognize and understand. I could see that one of them was my grandmother. She said that everyone she saw there fit in perfectly with her understanding of how they would have looked in their prime. I recognised a lot of people. My Uncle Gene was there. So was my great-great-aunt Maggie, who was really a cousin. Then she was told she couldn't go any further. She said it was communicated to her that if she continued on from this space, then something would happen to her physically. Her uncle said that he would bring her back through the tunnel, and she thought everything was fine and she wanted to come back. But then when she came back to the operating theatre and she saw her body, she didn't want to enter it. She said it looked like a train wreck. It looked like a terrible thing, a dead body. She continued, "It was communicated to me that it was like jumping into a swimming pool. No problem, just jump right into the swimming pool." She said she didn't want to return to her body, but then her uncle pushed her, and she felt the body pulling and the tunnel pushing. And she jumped into the body, and she said it was like jumping into cold water. It was freezing, and it hurt. Pam became aware of what was happening around her. The surgeons were trying to start her heart. But while they were doing this, they were listening to the Eagles song, Hotel California, and there was that line, "You can check out, but you can never leave." After the operation, she said to a Dr. Brown that she thought this was quite insensitive. After her experience, Pam said she had lost all fear of death. She said, "If death is the worst thing that happens to us, what an incredible thing. If at the end of our lives, this is what's going to happen to everyone, I don't see the problem. I really don't get it. I fear pain, but I don't fear death." So are there any verifications here? Well, a cardiologist called Dr. Michael Sabom decided to investigate after he heard about this near-death experience. He was able to look at the medical reports, and he interviewed Dr. Spetzler. He said that Pamela Reynolds' experience could not have been the result of a temporal lobe seizure, as none had been recorded. The medical report said that a female doctor had a problem with small blood vessels. This apparently confirms what Pamela Reynolds says about hearing a doctor said the arteries are too small. But the thing is, Pamela Reynolds could not have heard that with her physical ears, because the moulded earplugs were in there, and they were playing these loud clicks at 116 decibels. Pamela Reynolds described the bone saw as looking like an electric toothbrush. The thing is, she couldn't have seen it when she came into the operating theatre, because all of the instruments were covered with a sterile cloth. And Dr. Sabom was not familiar with this particular bone saw, so he asked the manufacturer for photographs, and when he saw them, they confirmed what she said. So Pamela Reynolds had a near-death experience when she was hooked up to all sorts of medical devices that were specifically designed to check if she was alive. She had these experiences while the devices showed that she was dead. Her heart had stopped and her brain had flatlined. And both Dr. Sabom and Dr. Spetzler say it's not possible for a brain to make and retain complex memories in this state. This is good evidence that her consciousness left her body and observed these things and remembered them while her body was dead. So that's been the Pamela Reynolds near-death experience. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you like these videos, please subscribe, give us a click on the like button, and look out for the next one. And thanks for watching.